All right, perfect. So thank you guys for the introduction. Again, thanks for having me on. And we'll jump right into it. Couple minutes after 3 here. So I'll try and get done before market close for you guys today. But again, appreciate your time. And what we're going to be talking about, again, this is Nadex sponsored event. So we're going to be talking about a crash-proof strategy that is actually my number one profit strategy. And funny thing, it actually set up yesterday. So a number of you guys that may be on here listening to me might have seen where I took a Russell futures trade yesterday using this exact same strategy. And then today it's set up again in the Dow or the US 30 for Nadex, and some room members took that as well. So it's a very relevant strategy to today's market action. Now, before we get started, I do have to cover a quick risk disclaimer. No representation is being made. The use of this strategy or any system will produce profits, results, anything like that. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. As you guys know, trading involves risk. It takes money to make money. And in order to make that money, you have to put some money at risk. Only trade with money that you can afford to lose. CFTC rule 4.41, hypothetical or simulated performance results have certain limitations, blah, blah, blah. Standard risk disclaimer. So anyways, with that being said, let's just jump in. Now, for me, rule number one in trading that I want you guys to do is write the name of your strategy down, right? When you go and you meet someone or you're out with your wife or your husband and you see a friend or whatever, you don't just like say, hey, friend number one, friend number two. Like you actually know them by name, right? You got your local bartender, you know that person by name, right? So the same should be true when it comes to your trading strategy. So for me, when it comes down to trading Nadex, I have 5 main strategies that I use. Number 1 is targeting. Number 2 is divergence, which is the one we're going to be talking about today. Number 3 is level to level. 4 is containment, and number 5 is a breakaway strategy. Now, today's agenda. Number 1 is why you're here. Number 2 is what are binary options, how binary options work, why Nadex, which is really important, what are the costs associated, why traders fail. Again, extremely important topic right there. And then number 7, we're going to be getting into my favorite trade setup, the divergence trade, and then what you can do next going forward after this presentation. So quick introduction to who I am. That is myself and my wife and our son, who is about to be 2 years old next month, which is kind of crazy to me to think of. I've been a full-time trader now since 2011. I was a journeyman electrician in the Washington, D.C. area before that. So I did not come from, my dad was a truck driver. My mom used to work at McDonald's. So I didn't come from a long line of, people interested in the stock market or whatever. They've actually only ever owned 2 stocks. But I had an interest in it. I founded MLT in 2014. And with that, I've been able to mentor thousands of traders from all over the world. I love to travel. Again, husband, father, speaker, all that stuff. And something cool there that we hit a new milestone at MLT this year. So far to date, we actually have 3 students who have made over 6 figures this year from trading, which is super cool to me. So let's go ahead and dive in. And can I see the chat thingy? Let's see. Oh, cool. There it is. That's a great photo. Thank you. All right, so I can see the chat now. Why you're here. Every trader goes through kind of these stages, right? You've seen the roller coaster type little graphs and things like that. But I like to just simply make it just buckets. So what I want you guys to do is just type in the chat whether you're in bucket number 1, bucket number 2, or bucket number 3. Now, the beginner, bucket number 1, that's the person that's just starting out. Maybe they haven't, placed their first trade yet, or they've done 1 or 2 trades, trying to get a feel for it, coming on, listening to presentations like this, which is a great place to start. Bucket number 2 is the person that you're trading live and you're just, it's flat. It's just not going anywhere for you. You can't quite get over that hump to be profitable. And then bucket number 3 is the veteran trader that is consistently pulling profits out of the markets on a regular basis. Bucket number two, bucket number two. All right. So a lot of bucket number twos. All right, perfect. So hopefully the strategy I show you guys today, bucket 1.5, I like that. Hopefully the strategy I can show you guys today will help take you from bucket number 2 into bucket number 3. When it finally clicks and you get into bucket number 3 and you see all of those things that you used to do, and you're like, oh, I would have probably, 10 months ago, 2 months ago, 10 days ago, taken that trade, but now I'm not. It's just a really, really cool thing to see. So what are binary options? Now, if you guys are on this, you most likely know what Nadex is. So I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this. I'd rather get into the charts. But I think they are the best product for you to trade because it really takes options and makes them simple, and it breaks it down to a yes or no decision. Will price be above or below this level by the set expiration? Now, you can go in, you can do spreads, you can do all of these other things as well, but I like to focus strictly on just the binaries, and I'll show you guys why. You can start with only $250. There's no PDT rule, which is needing $25,000 in order to trade. There's timed exits, takes a little bit of that psychological thing out of it. Multiple markets available, and it's virtually a 24-hour market that is CFTC regulated, which is super important. And we'll talk about that in a second and some past experiences there. So Nadex binary options are limited risk contracts based on a simple yes or no market proposition. Like I said, will the market go up by the end of the day or will they go down? It offers a way to trade the most active stock indices, commodities, and Forex markets with relatively low collateral. Again, mentioned only needing $250 to get started. Contracts are cash settled. That's an important thing. It is possible to close a contract prior to expiration, either to take profits or cut losses, which definitely applies to the strategy or relatively any strategy that you're going to use when it comes down to trading options. So you can see here's an example. S&P's US 500 over 31.1650s by 10 a.m. This was the 25th of November of last year. If you think the market's going to close above that, you can go long. If you think the market's going to close below that, you would then sell this particular contract. So why binary options are better? Well, the traditional trader has to worry about all of these things and more. If you're trading, like we mentioned, Zoom, which I actually did trade today, or Tesla, Apple, all of these things, you've got earnings and news events and the delta, theta, the gamma, the puts, the calls, the implied volatility, all of these other things that you have to take into consideration. To whereas when you're trading Nadex, it's just, will the market be above or below this specific level by the set expiration time? So it really breaks it down to just one question you have to ask yourself. And again, I'm assuming most of you guys know this stuff, so I'm kind of breezing through some of it there. But when it comes down to why Nadex binary options, I'm a price action trader. The only thing I look at, the only thing that is on my chart is just the chart, time and price, and that's it. No indicators, no things like that. It's all based around price. Now, which when it comes down to Nadex, yes or no decision above or below that set price. So at the end of the day, price is all that matters. If we're moving on low volume, if we're moving on a lot of volume, price is still moving. Doesn't necessarily make a difference there. Now, as a CFTC registered exchange and clearinghouse, Nadex adheres to all of the regulations like matching buyers and sellers and does not participate in your trades. They hold all member funds in segregated accounts in top-tier U.S. banks, Fifth Third Bank, BMO Harris, and they're getting their income solely from exchange fees, not from taking positions in the market. That's the difference between an exchange and a broker. Again, a few of my favorite benefits: limited risk. The maximum amount you can lose on every trade is your original investment. So if you put a position on before bed and it's set to expire the next morning, when you wake up, whether you were right or wrong, you know what your max loss potential is. There's also low collateral required. Again, Binary contracts are priced between $0 and $100. So you can risk essentially all the way down to $1. And they're also short-term contracts. So they have expirations ranging from 5 minutes to 1 week. All right, so Nadex commission and cost structure. Again, a couple more benefits right there. The entry and exit before expiration is just going to be $1 per contract. So you get into a position, you pay $1. You get out of that position to either take profits or cut losses, you pay $1 per contract. If it expires in the money, so meaning that you were right and price closed, above or below your bought or sold strike, you're going to pay a $1 settlement fee per contract on that, which I don't know about you, but I'm okay with paying $1 if I'm collecting $100 on a in the money expiration. And out of the money, so a trade that you were wrong on, something that, you potentially looked for a larger move, you sold something quote unquote in the money or bought something out of the money a little further out for a larger move, and it does not work out. There is no settlement fee for that. You guys are all up to date on Nadex. Actually, quick question. How many of you guys are trading Nadex right now? Just drop me a Y in the chat if you're actively trading Nadex, or a no if you are not trading or haven't traded Nadex yet. Okay, so a lot of Ys, a couple no's. All right, decent little mixture, about 50-50. And okay, cool. Awesome, appreciate that. All right, so let's talk about a couple of the reasons why traders fail. The first reason is trading the wrong product. And that's just simply your time, your allotment, all of these things, your schedule, your day-to-day routines, right? Each of us have different lives. We're not all revolving. I mean, we're revolving around the sun the same speed, but we all have different things. Some of us have, night shifts. Some of us have, kind of a split schedule. All of these things impact what product you should be trading. And Nadex gives you the flexibility to trade at any time, virtually a 24-hour market, with a number of different products available. So you'll see a lot of people that are trading the wrong product, and that's why they end up failing. They're like, oh, this just isn't working. And when you switch it and you take it down to a simple yes or no decision, that makes a big difference. There's unknown max risk upon entry, which creates this kind of emotional hope for people, right? Back in March when the market was crashing at, basically the lows, I was stepping in and buying a lot of things, the airlines, the cruise ships, all of these things, right? But I was sizing them for zero, right? When you don't, you're not going to size Tesla for zero. You're not going to step in and size other things for going to zero, right? So there's this unknown max risk of, oh, will it gap down against me? Will it gap up against me? All of these things that are just unknown. And again, that creates that emotional hope. Also, they don't have defined trading setups. Remember, rule number one is writing these things down and actually knowing them, knowing what they look like, knowing how they act, knowing if you do this, they're going to do that type of thing. And if you're married, knowing them as well as you know your spouse would be a really good way to put it. Number four is analysis paralysis. I already mentioned my charts are absolutely empty, just price, right? People put Bollinger Bands and Keltner channels and all of these other things. I can't even think of other indicators at the moment because I haven't used them in so long. And they just clutter up the chart and you can't really see price. And then people will react to price rather than having a plan of where to trade in advance. What's the important support or resistance level? And how is the particular strategy I'm going to use, how does that look? How does that feel? How does that taste? How does that smell with what the market is currently doing and allowing the market to come to me instead of me reacting to the market moving? And then people get addicted to chasing both up and down moves. We've definitely seen this a lot in the current markets. I mean, we basically, for lack of better terms, have had a V in the market. We sold off for a couple weeks. acted like we were going to go a little bit lower, and now we're back at new all-time highs. And the same people that were talking about us crashing to zero in the middle of March are now talking about, 50,000 in the Dow, and we're all going to new highs, right? So people just get addicted to chasing both those up and down moves, and kind of FOMO just really sets in. So if you can get these things under control, these 6 things under control, it's going to make a world of difference for you. All right. Couple of quotes here. This is a young Eric Marcus. I was 19 in this photo with Warren Buffett, so I don't know if you guys are familiar with who he is or not, depending on how new you are to the trading and investing space. But it was a super cool experience to get to go out to Omaha, Nebraska, where he's from, listen to him give a speech, and then rode with him in his Cadillac to lunch. He is a much better investor than he is a driver. The dude's like 80 some years old now. This was like 10 years ago, and he was not a good driver then. So we won't go on that one, but he said a couple of good things. Should you find yourself in a chronically leaking boat, energy devoted to changing vessels is likely to be more productive than energy devoted to patching leaks. This specifically applies to trading that wrong product or using that strategy that's just not working for you, right? If you're continually, shorting Tesla on this rally, or continually shorting the Nasdaq on this rally, and it's not working because your strategy says, hey, it's overbought or whatever the case is, most likely changing vessels is going to be more productive than trying to patch that leak or that big hole that you probably dug yourself in, which takes us to the next one. The most important thing to do if you find yourself in a hole is to stop digging. So if you are in that hole and you continually do the same things over and over again, just stop digging the hole. It's pretty simple. And then number 3 is you can't produce a baby in 1 month by getting 9 women pregnant. And this quote specifically for me just speaks to the fact of quality over quantity, which is something that I talk about consistently almost every single day. If there's no A+ setups, then I'm not looking to do anything. I'm just sitting on my hands. So again, this quote just says that these good things can take time, and trying to, I don't want to use the word bang, but bang out a bunch of different strategies, just isn't necessarily going to work. All right. So again, we talked about knowing your strategy. So let's cover these and then we'll get into some charts here. So markets have a couple different things, right? Markets will trend, markets will pull back, markets will go sideways, markets will basically drop off the face of a cliff. We'll take the escalator up and the elevator down type of thing. So you have to have some different strategies depending upon the type of market that you're in. Now, right now we're in a super good trending market. So the first strategy here, targeting. This works really great for trending markets. It's looking for higher prices or lower prices, and picking strikes further out and allowing the market to get to those. Number 2, which is the divergence strategy, my favorite setup, which we're into in just a moment. Number 3 is level to level. This is how to identify the support and resistance before they actually trade, putting that plan in place, knowing what you're going to do so you're not reacting to the market making some type of, jostle move real quick, and you're sitting there trying to scramble. Number 4 is containment. Take advantage of range-bound markets. This is when a lot of traders get chopped up, is when we go into kind of trend change areas and we just go sideways, right? It's brutal if you're a breakout trader and we're in a containment range-bound type of market without a strategy that works, of course. Number 5 is the breakaway. And this is letting news announcements work for you. There's obviously a lot of people that like to speculate on, the earnings reports of different companies, the FOMC, the crude oil inventory numbers, all of these different things, and where they think price is going to go. And, the number was good, so it should go higher, this, that, or the other. This strategy basically just says, hey, we're going to have a news announcement. It should move price. Here's a way we can take advantage of that. And we don't really care whether it moves up or down, just as long as it does move. All right. So this is the good stuff right here. Okay. This is the divergence strategy. So if you guys have pen and paper or a smartphone, take a quick screenshot of this. These are the rules. These are the criteria for the trade setup. So first thing we got to do is identify the potential highs and lows of the day. After that, we want to wait for the first 15 minutes of the trading day. Okay. Mark the highs and lows of each index. Sorry, I said that backwards. The strategy is designed to identify the potential highs and lows of the day. In order to do that, we want to wait for the first 15 minutes of the trading day. After that's happened, we want to mark the highs and lows of each index. So the S&Ps, the Nasdaq, the Russell, and the Dow is what we're going to be talking about here. Those are the four main US indices. We want to wait for one market to break the high or low and the others to not. After that happens, we're going to wait for the trigger and then choose the closest strike to price when it comes down to trading this with Nadex. So let's look at a quick example. So if we see here, this is the what I call a foregrid. Now, in the top left, we've got the S&Ps, top right is the Nasdaq, bottom left is the Russell, and bottom right is the Dow. So if we, and I think I can actually use, yeah, there it goes. If we take a look here, again, we're waiting for the first 15 minutes of the day. And then from there, what we're watching is for one of the markets to break through to new lows or highs and the other markets to not do so. So you can see right here in the Russell, we actually end up breaking down here just before 10 o'clock. And if we compare that with the rest of the other markets, if we compare that with the rest of the other markets, they don't make new lows at this same moment in time. So this tells us that the Russell is potentially trying to go lower and the rest of the markets are like, no, we don't want to do that. We want to go back this way. So what ends up happening? Russell reverses, triggers, and rallies up new highs on the day. We'll get into the trigger in just a second too. And if you guys have questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat. All right, so next up here in the S&Ps, Nasdaq, Russell, Dow, again, 5-minute chart, waiting for the first 15 minutes of the day, marking the highs and lows of the day. So we're coming along here. We got highs here about 10 o'clock. We got highs about 10 o'clock. And our lows are right at like 9:30 here this morning in this. What time frame? Oh, so yeah, all of them are 9:30 to basically 4:15, 4 o'clock for the Dow now. 5-minute chart. We come up, we set these highs, right? S&P's highs, Nasdaq, Russell, Dow highs. We pull back here into like, I don't know, 11:20, 11:30 here. S&P's, boom, broke through morning lows, right? Russell broke through morning lows. Dow broke through morning lows. Nasdaq here does not. Nasdaq is the standout. It actually doesn't make new lows on the day. And that tells us, hey, this is potentially a low for the day in the rest of these other markets. Nasdaq says, no, I don't want to actually go lower. I want to go back up this way. In this case, where'd my mouse go? In this case, this is what's so great about using Nadex for this is because we're looking at getting in super close to the highs or lows of the day. And it doesn't matter if we rally all the way back up and get new highs on the day, or if we just rally up a little bit and go sideways the rest of the day. As long as price closes, again, above or below our specific level, that's all we care about. All right, so quiz time. You guys find the divergence strategy for me on this chart. So S&P is top left, NASDAQ top right, Russell bottom left, and Dow bottom right. Let me know which one of these is the divergence, where it's at. Give me kind of a rough time and the symbol that you think is giving the divergence. And to add on top of that, there is actually two divergences in this example. So I'm going to take a quick drink of water. You guys let me know where the divergences actually are on this chart. All right, nobody sees them? Russell low. Oh, there we go. Russell low, Russell low. All right, cool. RTY. All right, so you guys are seeing them now. That's cool. I like it. All right, so yeah, Russell here at about 2:45 in the afternoon Eastern time breaks through on this spike, gets new lows on the day. None of the other markets do. What also ends up happening, which I haven't showed you guys this yet, is there's a divergence on the top side right here. 20 minutes into the trading day, you can see the Russell actually pops up, gets new highs on the day. Now, 20 minutes into the day, S&Ps aren't getting new highs. NASDAQ not getting new highs. Dow not getting new highs. So the Russell's like, hey guys, I want to go this way. The rest of the markets are like, no, we got other plans in mind. And guess what's ended up happening? Russell just tanks with the rest of the markets, sets their lows at 10 o'clock, and then gets the second divergence later on in the day here at about 2:45. So it works in both uptrending markets and downtrending markets, which is super, super cool. All right. So choosing a strike for the divergence trade, right? We've identified what it is, and we'll go into choosing the strike now. So we want to choose the closest strike to at the money. Again, we're getting in super close to the low of the day or the potential low or high of the day. And that's going to be right around a $50 strike for us. We want to choose the 4:15 p.m. expiration. It gives us plenty of time for this trade to work out, whether we have to manage it as a winner or manage it as a loser, gives us plenty of time to do so. Hourly strike only if there's 45 minutes left to expiration. So if you have a set time frame that you can trade between 9 o'clock and 11 o'clock every single day or every few days or whatever it is, and you can be at the desk and you're like, hey, this trade should work out. This is quick morning, 10 o'clock reversal time, and I've got a contract that expires in 45 minutes or more, and I'll be around for that, then you can use that as well. And then close the trade if new lows and or new highs are made. So if we break the divergence after it's occurred, then we want to be taking that position off, right? So if we get into it for roughly $50 and at the money strike, then as it breaks, we're looking to get out around 35 to 32 or the opposite side if it's a short, and close that position out. Now, here's another example. You guys find the divergence for me again on this one. So again, this is a strategy. Would like to see the slide again. Okay. Yeah, I think they should be sending out a replay and all the slides and stuff like that. So yeah. Anyways, so with this one, you guys find me the divergence strategy on this one. And again, this is something that you guys can set up. Like if you guys have Thinkorswim, just set up a 4-grid like this and you can start watching this. I mean, if you pull up live charts, you'll see the one from today and the one from yesterday actually. But yeah, Dow, NASDAQ. All right. So yeah, there's a couple different ones actually here on this particular chart. So we've got one here a little bit after 10 o'clock on the day, right? Where the Dow kind of comes down, makes new lows. The Russell comes down, makes new lows. But the S&Ps and the NASDAQ don't. right? They're kind of like, no, we want to go back to the upside. So that's one divergence there on the day where we've got the Russell and the Dow down here making new lows. There's another divergence here, which is later on about 2:30 here in the afternoon. You can see Dow runs up, doesn't quite actually get new highs. So this one's a little bit kind of deceiving. It looks like it does here on this chart, but there's a tail right there at the first 9:30 bar. Doesn't quite get the new highs. NASDAQ runs up, doesn't quite get the new highs. But what does get the new highs is right here in the S&Ps. S&Ps pop up, get new highs. And this is where a lot of traders that are, trading breakouts and things like that, you're looking for some type of confirmation for that move to actually continue, right? Like Apple had kind of a failed breakout today at one point. NASDAQ had a failed breakout at one point today as well. So this strategy, not only is it allowing you or giving you an opportunity for a trade setup, if you're trading breakouts now and you see something like this, like, right, if you're looking to buy the S&Ps on a break to new highs on the day, and then you're looking at this and you're going, well, the Russell's not really doing the same and the Dow's not really doing kind of the same thing, and the NASDAQ's putting in a lower high, maybe I shouldn't take this breakout here in the S&Ps, and it, saves you from a stop out or gives you the opportunity to step in for a short there and potentially make a profit from that. You only use the price movement of the U.S. trading time. Yeah, no, I don't use any Globex. This is strictly from 9:30 to 4:15. All right, next up, I took that strategy and I made it even better. And what I did is coupled it with an indicator. So like I said, there's really nothing on my charts except for price. And then I have this 1-4 grid that sits on one of my monitors that has this indicator on it. So back in 2013, I worked with a Russian programmer and was able to get this coded that met the criteria that we've talked about here today, and also added in kind of another element to that as well. And I wanted something that just showed me, a basic arrow, red or green arrow, like, hey, here's a potential high or here's a potential low for the day. And you can see this is the exact same chart that we were just looking at. The only difference is there's some arrows added to the chart here. So you can see it did point out a divergence here about 11 o'clock. Again, the Dow wasn't quite making new highs on the day. NASDAQ wasn't quite making new highs on the day at the same time either. But what ends up happening here is these don't actually trigger, right? We don't get bar breaks on these, which is what's important. So when it comes down to a divergence strategy, we've got what I call the signal bar, which is i.e. like this bar here with the green arrow. And then we've got the trigger bar, which is the very next bar that needs to break above, in this case, the high of that bar in order to give us a short or a long entry into this move, right? So if we're just continually selling off and we are getting arrows, we're just waiting for the break of that bar, the break of the previous bar, and that's going to allow us to get into this, particular position, for example. So little help from technology there, and kind of simplified it even more with just red or green arrows there. Now, again, sometimes with the added filter, it's not going to show like this divergence here in the Russell, but it will kick it off over here in the Dow. All right. What about the other 4 strategies, right? Because this is more of a day trading strategy that I showed you guys here today, which is, looking between 9:30 and 4 o'clock each day. And I realized that some people, they have jobs and they have lives and they have sporting events and different things like that, whatever it is that can pull you away from the markets. And I'm now experiencing that with a 2-year-old who's actually, we're going to check out a school for him tomorrow, which is kind of crazy. But so I realized this, and I talked with, members of the MLT community. I'm like, hey, what is it that you guys would like to see from me? What is it that I can help you guys with? And pretty much unanimously, it was, set it and forget it type of strategies. So that's what I did. And I worked with members And I started coming up with these strategies. Again, those are the other 4 strategies that I showed you guys that we can place before the market opens each day and allow those to just work. And again, this is strictly using Nadex here for these. And you can see, again, we started tracking this back in August of 2019. And if you did it with just one contract, trading, again, just one contract with each trade, you can see some of them didn't fill, some of them, didn't fill, a couple losers in there, things like that. It comes out to be $235 for the month. Now, again, that's not quit your job type money, but again, we're only trading one contract. What I think is really important when it comes down to trading is position sizing and being consistent with how much risk you're putting on per position. Because if you're losing $100 on the positions that you're wrong on, but you're only making $20 or $30 on the ones that you're right, then you need a lot more winners to make up for your losers. So there's a little pro tip. If you're not sizing consistently, whether you're trading Nadex or stock or whatever you're trading, you got to size consistently, because here's what ends up making the difference here. Some of these trades, we're not risking, we're not using a full $50 to get into these positions, right? We may be selling these for $80, looking for, price to fall. So we only have $20 in risk in this particular case. So in this case, we can step in and we can risk $50 to $60 per trade. This allows us to then trade, 2 contracts, even 10 contracts in this case. This one was a loser for $47.50, but we still traded 10 contracts and we were within that $50 to $60 max risk per trade. Now, when you look at the numbers at the bottom line here, by doing that, by being consistent with that risk, the total for the month came out to $501.75. Now, the other thing you'll notice here is we didn't start doing this until the middle of August of last year. So in a half a month, it made 2 times the difference by being able to size correctly and consistently. Carry that over into September. And you can see here again, trading one contract was only good for $96.25. A little bit of a different month. We had a lot of trades that didn't fill here, and we had more losers than we did in the previous month. Now, it still ended up being a green month. Again, you add in this component of being consistent with your risk sizing, and that almost triples here to $286.25. Now, this was enough information for me and help with the students and things like that to then go into 2020. And this was the beginning of 2020 before COVID hit and we all got locked down and couldn't do anything with our lives for a while. But nonetheless, in the beginning of 2020, I started working and completed a Nadex course that shows you guys step by step the strategies that I was using to plan those trades in the morning, like the spreadsheets I just showed you, and then also the more in-depth training on the divergence strategy that we've been talking about here today as well. Again, like I said, I like to travel, so that's my wife and my son and I doing a little trips there in the beginning of 2020 here, and hopefully we'll be able to go somewhere towards the end of 2020. So again, I released it to just the internal MLT community that helped me in developing the trades and what it is that they wanted. And here's something that Scott from Myrtle Beach had said. He said the first 3 to 4 trades that I did using some of the analysis that Eric goes over with it and some of the strategies I've already made more than paid for the course. If any of you out there looking at doing this course, I highly recommend it. And again, those are his words there. So again, like I said, what I did is end up putting together what I call the Nadex Trader course. Now, these are my best setups to trade Nadex, targeting, divergence, level to level, containment, and breakaway. With that, I thought, okay, we need some other things with this, right? So on top of the Nadex Trader course, which is easily a $497 value, I added in a bundle of MLT proprietary indicators, things that are going to help you in identifying the do not trade zones, the Nadex strike indicator, all of these different things that are going to help you guys when it comes down to trading Nadex. Things that we haven't even got to talk about inside each of these specific strategies just yet. Also, custom trade grid charts with tutorials. I use Thinkorswim for my charts like I showed you guys on that 4 grid there. I actually just share you a link and you can open the same exact thing that I'm looking at, even my levels on the day and things like that, right on your own screen. And then I have a live chat room access, which is a Discord channel. So inside of that, every single day, I'm putting in the trades that I'm looking at, the trades that I'm taking. I'm reviewing trades. I'm answering questions, all of these things. We also have other moderators. The guy that actually taught me how to trade, he's a stock trader. And I've since, transitioned into futures and options and Nadex and all of the other things. He's actually a moderator in the room as well and does a live screen share and audio every single day as well. Shows his screen, shows his account, shows his P&L, each position, all of that on the screen. And again, he's the guy that taught me. So it's a really, really cool value, easily $497. And then on top of that, you get lifetime trade review access. So as I'm taking trades, I'll go in and I'll do a review video on those. So right now, my office is like literally as I'm speaking over at my house being completely redone. So they ripped up the floors, paint, and all of that fun stuff. And I'm actually going to be moving this desk over there and doing more trade review videos and things like that inside of the MLT community as well. And as a bonus for today, I'm giving you guys the MLT divergence indicator that I just showed you guys as well. That's easily a $997 value. Again, yesterday I used it in the Russell futures to make a little over $2,200. Another room member used it today. It was triggered in the Dow. So there's trades yesterday, trades today. Again, there's a reason why I use it and why I got it developed. And if you guys would like to sign up, today only $297. All you got to do is visit that link right there, mltnadex.com, or I believe they just dropped that into the chat as well there. Yep, I see it there. So you guys get access to all of that fun stuff inside of the course. And then what you guys want to do to get started, number one is logging into the trading chat room. So it's a 24-hour chat. There's people in there from West Coast, and there's like 6,000 people, 7,000 people in there. So there's people from all over. We've got different chat rooms, different moderators, all that fun stuff. After you do that, you want to install the MLT indicator bundle. Learn the 5 setups that I'm using to trade Nadex. Set up your Nadex demo account if you have not already. I saw a bunch of, it was about 50-50 for yes and no's earlier. So if you guys aren't currently using Nadex or starting to use Nadex, then set up a demo account, right? That's the best way to get started. You're not using your own capital. You're not risking real capital, right? That's a problem that a lot of people, they come in and they're like, hey, I can make this trading thing work and I got $1,000 and I'm just going to start, again, and I'm speaking like this is literally my story right here. I'm going to buy Exxon stock because it's a good company. I see them on every single corner. And the next day it goes down $3 and you're 15 years old and you're like, I thought I was smart and it didn't work, right? Use a demo account, practice your strategies, learn actually what you're doing before you commit real capital. And again, practice, practice, practice. So if you guys want to join me, the link there, mltnadex.com, and that'll get you access to everything I just talked about. We've got some time, so kind of push through some of that stuff a little bit there. So if you guys have questions, feel free to drop them in the chat for me. And can you hold this price until we get the recording of the webinar? Yeah, absolutely, Don. Is that a monthly amount? No. So $297 is a one-time thing. $190 or $297 one time, and it gives you access to again all of this stuff here, the Nadex Trader course, all of the strategies I'm using, the MLT indicators, the custom trade grid, and again the bonus for the Divergence today and live chat room access. So it's a hell of a deal. Is the indicator for Nadex, TOS, or MT4? It's for Thinkorswim. So Thinkorswim is a free platform to use for charting if you guys would like. How long have I been trading for? So I quit my job in July of 2011. I set up my first account actually when I was 14. So I don't know, what does that make now? It was in my dad's name. That was actually the account that I bought the Exxon stock in. It was my first ever trade, XOM. And I was so new to trading, and again, I was 14 years old, but I thought I was, you know, the next Warren Buffett. But I was so new to trading that I had saved up $2,000, opened the account in my dad's name, and he funded the account for me and all that. And I went to place the first trade. I did it. I bought some Exxon, and I looked at my account. And it was down like $10, and I'm like, what the? And I'm like totally confused. I didn't know you had to pay commissions in order to place a trade. So here I am, a little 14-year-old kid on my dad's computer on his account with my money. And the first thing I do, I'm down $10. And I'm like, I just bought like a few shares. Like, how does that even make sense? So yeah, come a long way since then. And like I said, yeah, this is what I do full time now. I don't have my Thinkorswim loaded up here, but I share it all the time on in the room, and I share it all the time on social media. And this month, so the month of August, which we still have some time left in, up month to date, a little over 60,000 from trading, real money, real profits. And again, I show all that stuff. Last month was only 12,000, but I was gone for half the month. I took half of July off, and we went and hung out. We've got a property in Nebraska, and just took some time off and didn't come back. We were there for July 4th and didn't come back till like the last 2 weeks of July. So, and I definitely missed out on some good volatility this week with the whole house kind of being torn apart and some other things that the wife wanted done. But yeah, nonetheless, yeah, this is what I do full time now. And like I said, we've got really cool this year. We've got 3 students that have passed 6 figures so far this year, and they're all in the chat and it's all posted and stuff like that. So when you guys join at mltnadex.com, you guys get access to the chat room and you'll see all of that stuff, see their post. One member actually made, here, I'll pull it up right now, actually. I don't want to quote it wrong, but it was somewhere north of like 22,000 on the day. Let me know if you guys have any questions, or am I about to be dismissed?
Are you about to get the hook?
Getting the boot.
Drag them off. Is this what we're going to do, Rob?
No, we're not going to do that. We wouldn't do that to him. But we are coming up to the top of the hour here, folks. Any more questions here for Eric? Eric, great presentation. Great presentation. Really like the divergence strategy, how basically straightforward it is. Like the way you challenged us by showing us your quad view that you have, and have us, you know, pick out those areas where we see the divergence and the opportunity to trade. Just excellent. Obviously, your commitment to your students, your commitment to your product, and also how this all ties together with Nadex, just first class on that. Really enjoyed that.
Appreciate that. So thank you guys again for having me, Pat and Nikki. I see you guys over there.
Absolutely.
Hey, thanks for
Thank
coming.
you.
And,
Yep.
and Raleigh, I got your email at like 1 o'clock this morning, so you were pulling an all-nighter there.
Well, I was just, you know, dotting the I's, crossing the T's.
I hear ya. Got to make it happen. So again, thank you guys so much. And again, thank all the attendees and stuff like that for coming in and hanging out and listening to me. And look forward to trading with you guys and coming back on and giving future presentations.
Thank you.
That sounds fantastic. Thank you so much, Eric. Enjoy the rest of your day. So once again, that was Eric Marcus, folks, with Major League Trading. His special offer for the Nadex Trader program that he put together. You can get that at westmarktrading.com/N8-major. And I think that's been put in the chat panel for everybody to take a look at. And we